My name is Biraj Shrestha and I'm from Nepal. Currently, I'm based in Laos for my capstone year. And today I'll be presenting on community fisheries management in freshwater systems from a country in Southeast Asia called Laos. So let's get it started. So there is no doubt over fisheries being an important resource to us, but often marine fisheries takes the lion's share when it comes to fisheries management, undermining the role of inland fisheries in food security, livelihood support, and socio-economic development of many of the developing nations where millions of people live near the river basin. So with growing population pressures and the urgency to manage sustainable fisheries, mechanisms such as marine protected areas are in place. But what about freshwater systems? When many of the freshwater fish and other aquatic animals have sharply declined and on the brink of extinction due to human actions. Therefore, today I'm going to walk you through an efficient resource management strategy in freshwater systems derived from the working principle of marine protected areas and called as fish conservation zones. However, they can go by different names such as fishery replenishment zones in Honduras and fish conservation areas in Cambodia or Myanmar. So Mekong River. Mekong is one of the largest transboundary rivers in Asia that originated in Tibet and flows through 6 nations, including Laos. Mekong is originally called as Mekong, meaning mother river in Thai and Lao languages, while Mekong is also known as the lifeblood of Asia because of the river's great productivity, rich biodiversity, which is crucial to the livelihood of millions of riverine communities. In addition, Mekong is the greatest contributor of world's inland fisheries. A total of 850 species have been recorded from the Mekong Basin, of which 481 species are found in the Laotian side of the Mekong River. Laos or Laopedia is a small landlocked nation in Southeast Asia, and 87% of the country's area drains into the Mekong River, contributing to 35% of the total river discharge. And that means all Lao tributary and the mainstream Mekong River is known for its rich biodiversity, aquatic rich biodiversity. And in Laos, fisheries are an important part of life as Mekong River provides ample opportunities for fishing, agriculture, and utilization of many of the aquatic biodiversity to the riverine communities, accounting for more than 75% of the total population. Lao fisheries are a critical source of nutrition, food security, and livelihood to the poor and marginalized communities, while also being a crucial contributor to poverty reduction and boost the national economy. Fisheries management is thus critical in Laos because of the declining wild stocks due to increasing fishing pressures as noticed in some of the fishing areas, and habitat destruction, competition on water use and control, destructive fishing practices such as use of electroshockers, poisoning, dynamite fishing, and fishing inside the FCZs, and use of increased gill nets, and exploitation of vulnerable life history stages, and fishing in sensitive habitats. So fisheries management in Laos follows a participatory bottoms-up approach where the knowledge, experience, and participation of resource users are ensured in the planning, implementation, and monitoring of the management. The responsibility for the management is shared between the community and the local government authorities in such a way that the issues are identified by the communities and decisions need to be adaptive to the local conditions, which makes it very unique. So what are FCZs? Fish conservation zones, or FCZs, are no fishing areas managed by the community to protect critical fish breeding and nursery habitats, while also limiting the overharvest of target species such as provarvous fish in the Mekong River. And establishing FCZs involve a lot of effort, a lot of meetings and time-consuming process, which starts with consensus building, followed by drafting regulations and its revision, and then followed by agreement by local level stakeholders, district approval, and then announcement, which looks like this. And then monitoring and evaluation, and again, revision of the draft regulations, which means the 5 blue circles forms a closed loop. And this model is prepared by the Department of Livestock, Fisheries, and WWF in 2009. So these FCZs could either be fully restricted to all the year round and as no-take zones, or seasonal as managed fishing zones. And currently there are more than 1,300 official FCZs in Laos. So once the FCZs are established and fisheries management is functional, what could be the next future steps? Well, capacity building and monitoring of the system, obviously, to determine whether these FCZs are performing, underperforming, and also to explore the opportunities around the fisheries management. So this is where the current project is born, with the overall goal to improve the capacity of committee members to manage and expanded and strengthened FCZs, and also as a model for sustainable community fisheries management and freshwater protected areas in Laos. And in my right, you can see the picture of a target species, Probarbus juliani, commonly known as Julian's golden carp. And on my left, you can see a poster representing both the target species, Julian's golden carp and thick-lipped barb. Both of them are important freshwater carps, economically very important, and also threatened by a lot of different threats, and have been placed as critically endangered in the IUCN's red list and endangered, and also been placed in the CITES Appendix 1, which means its international trade has been restricted unless exceptional circumstances. So in this talk, I would like to touch on 3 important areas of my work, but others are in the report if you would like to see. So beginning with the knowledge, attitude, and practice CAP surveys. CAP surveys helps to assess the level of knowledge building and level of knowledge building, attitude formation, and change in the practices of the stakeholders, which can also be used to evaluate as the project impacts. And we wanted to see if the community members have been perceiving any advantages or benefits from the FCZs, because it's very important to figure out if the community members do not perceive any advantages from these FCZs, then chances are that the stakeholders will be less supportive of the FCZ management. So we also wanted to assess the satisfaction level of stakeholders in FCZ management, the local fishing practice, presence absence of the key target species, and awareness of and compliance with the FCZ regulations. So from our surveys, it seems clear that people are compliant with people are aware of the FCZ regulations in their villages. However, the level of awareness is low in Pakpi village because people are less dependent on fishing here. And it seems overall people have developed a good understanding of that fishing restrictions would actually help to reboost fish populations, including Probarbus, and have spillover benefits. And between August to December 2019, the fishers have been able to capture a total of 30 adult Probarbus fish and an estimate of 49 juveniles. So it seems that the target species Probarbus are using the habitat all year round, and this has tempted some of the people to involve in illegal fishing because the Probarbus is one of the economically important species. So, but also few of the illegal fishers are drug users and people in high power or in authoritative positions. So it has been challenging to the enforcement team to take follow-up actions in case of violations. But the good thing is that the number of respondents who reported illegal fishing to authorities have increased by 2.5 times in 2019 compared to the survey done in 2017 around Chiang Mai Rapids villages. And overall, people are satisfied with the current fishery management style and decision making, so have expressed their full support. This indicates the existence of a good FCZ governance and organizational structure. So conflicts can naturally occur when it comes to managing sustainable use of natural resources, including fisheries. Due to fishing restrictions, there were some levels of conflict in the villages between fishers and stakeholders. Thus, a 2-day capacity building training about conflict management was provided to the fisheries practitioner in Laos, and including the Fish Bio Laos staff to educate participants about conflict, dynamics of conflict, and conflict management strategies, with the hope of informing their work with local communities on fisheries issues. And later during the study tour, Fish Bio staff helped to scale the training to the project villages. And the discussion highlighted some of the constraints with enforcement and impacts associated with the follow-up action. People also shared the FCZ management committee investigates the issue in coordination with the local government agencies, such as sub-district office and village committees, and then deals with the violators according to the regulations. So building support from stakeholders involved in community fisheries management is critical to achieving the overall goal of creating FCZs. One way to build this support is by creating a network between project villages and strengthening it with a communication platform like organizing an exchange visit. So since 3 new FCZs were added in 2019. So we thought of organizing an exchange visit so as to allow the villages with new FCZs to learn from the villages with older FCZs, and we took the participants to visit one of the oldest FCZ sites in Waikuluang, Patpi, and Korfak villages. So the exchange visit helped to familiarize those villages new to the FCZ management with more experienced villages, and we hope that this was a valuable contribution to managing the long-term sustainability of these communities in FCZ management. So here are some of the blog posts that I wrote on project activities about exchange visit in Laos, and then my introduction and the Fish Bio team welcoming me in Laos for the Mekong River Conservation FCZ network, and also a blog post about the conflict management training in Vientiane back in October. So based on the survey and interactions with the communities, here are some of the recommendations that I laid out. So it is very necessary to periodically review the FCZ regulations and evaluate the performance of FCZs in identifying the management constraints and cater to the needs of stakeholders to achieve the specific objectives for fisheries management. And there is a need for concerted effort from all stakeholders in tackling the illegal fishing, and there must be an increased collaboration between the communities and between communities and the government, especially during patrolling and regulations enforcement, and also regarding the follow-up actions in case of any violations. So in villages, community meetings are the means of discussing issues and strategizing plans, including fisheries. So the meeting should be held on Buddha days, which means the full and moon, new and full moon days, because villagers gather in the temple for prayers at that time, and that ensures greater participation of stakeholders. And to guarantee the continued effort of enforcement, funding and other in-kind support plays a vital role. And we recommend holding consultations with stakeholders to explore revenue generating opportunities such as tourism and homestays. And finally, there is a greater need to embed community outreach in environmental education and conservation awareness programs within and between villages that promote local ownership and sustainable fisheries management. So the capstone's contribution to the larger field, Fish Bio has already developed a best practice guidebook for fisheries FCZs management, and we have already piloted the use of the guidebook in our current project. As I already said that there are more than 1,300 official FCZs in Laos, but I hardly believe they have been evaluated. So as a contribution to a larger field, we could help train some of the practitioners, fisheries practitioners in government and non-government institutions to use the guidebook for evaluating FCZs in Lao PDR. The assessment will highlight some of the gaps or problems that emerged with the existence of FCZs, which is crucial to strategize effective actions in achieving the desired actions. And on a slightly different note, my environmental goal is to stop the decline of freshwater biodiversity, especially with species that have high use value to humans and have been overexploited, such as fish and amphibians. I'm motivated to learning different scalable conservation solutions that reverse those declines. So on the one hand, I would be looking for opportunities in freshwater related positions, while on the other, I envision applying my learnings from the Lao-based, community-based conservation experience to Nepal, because Nepal is also famous for its successful community-based conservation initiatives. And I think I see enough opportunities in scaling this concept of freshwater protected areas in Nepal because of its uniqueness, and I believe it would gain a competitive edge over the other forms of participatory resources management. So finally, I'm very thankful to all the people and institutions that contributed to this capstone in a meaningful way. And yeah, this stage, I feel pretty much myself like an anadromous fish who has traveled from a land of fresh water to the ocean and now is heading back to the river. So thank you.